Welcome to the Daily Drift. I'm your host Kyle, and let's talk wheel spacers.
We know we're shit.
Yeah. Thanks for watching the Daily Drift. So wheel spacers, what are they? Well, they're basically like giant washers, okay? But you gotta be very careful which ones you pick and which ones you get for your car, because if you just go throwing washers on your car, you're gonna have a bad day. You don't want that. This is probably the one part where you don't wanna go cheap. You wanna make sure that you get something quality, something that's gonna last. You could do the eBay ones, they work, but you know, if you're like me and you care about your car and you want your car to last and you don't wanna be going down the track and have a wheel just randomly go flying off, you might wanna make sure you get a good one. And I'm gonna go over all the different little nuances of these things, at least what I know, and it's not much. And I wanna tell you guys basically, you know, what to look for, what not to look for. So let's get into it. So one of the first things you want to look for when you're looking at spacers is you got these things here. You can see these have like a couple different bolt patterns. You want to make sure you get the right bolt pattern. Different cars have different lug patterns. Google, that's what it's there for. The other thing is, these are what you call Hub-Centric. When you look at this, you can see that there's this nice little ring here. And what this ring is going to do is it's going to make it to where when you go to put this on the car, it lines up perfectly on the hub. And it's going to make it to where it doesn't roll around, your wheel isn't sliding all off. Like, last thing you want is that wheel down there to go flying off down the road. That's not good. But wheel spacers are only part of the equation. The other equation are the lug nuts or bolts or whatever you use to secure your wheel to your tire, to your car, to whatever you use to put it on there. So you want to make sure when you're looking at your wheel spacers, you're deciding which one you want to get, make sure they come with longer bolts, because you need longer bolts. Or extended studs potentially if you're running studs. It just depends on your car. Like on my RX-7, I have extended studs. If I want to, I can run a bigger spacer, slides right on there, and it's good to go. BMW is a little bit different. They use bolts because they just want to be different, I guess. I don't know. But that's what we did. So we got the extended bolts along with the spacer to make sure that it's going to match. Most companies, good companies, will sell the bolts with the spacer. Do not forget to get either extended bolts or extended studs. One or the other, you gotta have them. Now there is an option for a spacer that's out there that you can do, and I've known people that run them and they sell them, and they're basically a circle like this, and inside they give you spare bolts. It bolts into your original one and it offsets with new studs. Those are okay and they work, but the problem is I just personally don't feel too safe using those. I'm sure that you can get away with it. Lots of guys get away with it, but you know, some people manage to get away with murder, so you know, that's a thing. So the point is, if you want to make sure that you're getting the right parts, just make sure you do the research, make sure you check what other guys have run. What they've run may not run for you, it might not work. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to measure to figure out the size of the wheel spacer that you need, because everybody's size is gonna be different. Someone might tell you, oh, get a 20, get a 30, get a 10, get a 12, whatever. It doesn't matter what other people say, you gotta measure it yourself and see what fits. I'm gonna be running 20s up front on the BMW. I haven't even measured the back yet. I don't know what I'm getting back there, because I don't even know if I'm gonna run these wheels forever. We'll see, but for right now, this is just to get my tires and my wheels off of my suspension. It's all I'm using it for. It's not for stance or looks, but it's gonna look good either way. So let's get down to it, and I'm gonna show you basically how to measure the size of your spacer and make sure you get the right one. Alright, so the next step, what I like to do is I take a straight edge, or you can use tape, or I prefer using a wrench because wrenches are awesome. So all you do is you hang that from the edge there. So what you're doing is you're measuring the distance from the edge to the rim or your tire, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then you take that measurement and you convert it to millimeters, and that's basically how much of a spacer you want. You determine how far you want it to poke out, how close you want it to be to the edge of your fender there. It's real straightforward, real simple. You got to kind of feel under here. You might have some fender liners or something if you try to push it too close. So I like to give myself a little leeway. That's why I went with 20 millimeters. And we'll see what it looks like when I get it put on here. So that'll be the next thing. Okay guys, so here's the difference between a long bolt and a short bolt. That's the difference for a BMW. That's that 20mm difference right there. If I was to go try to put this through, it's not gonna work. You gotta get the extended bolts slash studs slash whatever you want to call them. Just make sure you get them. Don't be stuck with half a thread. You don't want that. You want to get full engagement here. So now I'm just gonna go and finish putting these suckers on. It's pretty straightforward. You ready to see just how simple this is? Literally, you take this, that's it. Make sure it's seating properly, that your gaps are right. You want to make sure that you don't have a gap between the flange of the hub and the back of this. It needs to be perfect. Okay, then it needs to be perfect. There shouldn't be any play. This thing should be on here nice and tight, and mine is, so it's perfect. So now we'll go and throw the wheel back on, put the bolts on. Alright, let's see if we get this sucker on here. Now we just take our long bolts, put these suckers on there. Don't forget to do a star pattern. Alright, that should be good. Moment of truth. Alright, look at that. That pulled it right out. Don't forget to torque your wheels. Beautiful. We're clearing everything, so that's exactly what we wanted. And now we're sitting just close enough to this where we're right inside. I could lower the tire to make it a little bit flush, but I'm not trying to be flush. I'm a drifter. I need it to work. This is awesome. So I'm gonna go put the other side on, and then we'll get to talking about the rest of this. So here's a quick example of the difference between the two. You got this one here versus this one here. This one here is not as good, obviously. It's more tucked up in there, so we want to pull that out. All right. Just got the second one on. See how it looks. Alright guys, that's basically it. That is pretty much all you need to know about wheel spacers. I'm sure there's a whole lot that I'm forgetting. I'm not a professional by any means, so feel free to correct me in the comments and call me a dumbass. I think that sucker looks pretty good. I don't know about you, but I'm really happy with the way these spacers turned out. The ones that I got were from Amazon. I believe they're called Precision Auto. I'll put a link down in the description. So guys, the top things that I want you to remember is this. Remember to get a quality spacer. Make sure that it's hub-centric. And make sure that you get your right size bolts, studs, or nuts. Whatever your car calls for. That's the most important thing. Be careful. Make sure you torque your lug nuts and everything like that. You should be good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you didn't already, don't forget to hit subscribe, guys. Don't forget. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was a little bit informative. I learned something. Hopefully you learned something. And if you didn't learn anything, at the very least, maybe I was entertaining. I don't know. But I just hope you guys have a great day, and just remember guys, keep drifting simple.